Welcome back to Day Late Engines.
Ill man.
Not well. Shouldn't be in, but I'm a warrior.
He is a warrior.
In. But in late, mate. Got the chest infection now, as you might hear. A lot of people concerned for my health. I had 2 or 3 emails, actually, of people very concerned.
Well, that's very nice of them,
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate that. But I have been all right most of the year, haven't I, really?
Yeah, not been too bad.
I've had a couple of things, I had a sickness bug, and now this in the last month, which is absolutely great. How are you getting on with this one then, mate?
I'm getting on rather well.
Plastic gauged all the bottom end, have you?
Not the big ends yet, because I still haven't found a...
Is this a bit you've done in your video?
I did do a little bit in the bit of video.
Day Late Engines.
That or not,
Sorry about the video yesterday, guys. Isaac's going to be yapping on about that in a bit. You sent me a little bit of footage, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, I did a little bit.
But I was just too unwell yesterday to even bother doing a video.
It's fair enough, mate. It's fair enough.
So I'm going to do one tonight. So we'll stick that bit in a bit, mate.
Yeah.
I actually come in today to crack on with this Cosy. So I've finished doing the clearances.
You have done? Nice.
Weren't very far out at all. Probably 2-3 thou.
Perfect.
I had to take a little bit off the stems. So as you can see, all pretty good. I haven't had to take hardly any meat off that. So they're all done. Absolutely cock on. I did ring Newman to confirm the clearances, and they were 8 and 10 foul.
Yeah, as they normally are.
Yeah. A lot of people were concerned also about me turning down the shims.
Yeah, did see a few comments about that.
Shims were actually no harder on the very outside than they were when I finished with them, mate. They ain't very hard at all, these things, to be honest, hence being able to turn them easily in the lathe.
Well, it's a modification as well, so they know you're probably going to have to do some sort of...
Exactly,
machining.
that's why they come long. So, you know, I've had to take 1.6 mil off them. It all depends on what length valve you're using and all the rest of it. So obviously, this has had the faces and the seats cut, but certainly not 1.5 mil off. They probably just took a few thou off. So they just leave them long, and it enables you to take some.
Good.
No, enables you to take some off the shim. So anyway, they're all done, perfect. So I've stripped out the cams. Next problem with the head. See these studs Euro up. If you head on down to the mill, mate, I will show you what I've done. The next problem.
So I've finally got them round to cracking on with this transit head. I've gone through it, checked all the valves, and it turns out we had 8 bent exhaust valves and 3 of the inlets were bent. So the way I check these is we load them up in the valve grinder here in a little chuck, and we start the machine. And this one's a little bit difficult to see on camera, but you can see it wobbling around there, so we know that one's bent. If we're not sure about them, if they look a bit sort of in between, we can try and take a little cut and see if it starts to cut only on one side or not. Yeah, so all of these are bent. So John's been down the road today and he's got me 8 new exhaust valves and 3 inlet valves. But I've cleaned up the 5 inlets that were all good. Give those a little face. And yeah, so now I've just cut the seat. So I've just cut the seats for the exhausts, and they're all vacuuming lovely now. It's just about the end of the day, so I'm going to do the inlets tomorrow, get those done, and then we can give this head a skim, clean it up a bit. It's not too bad, but you know, got a few little stains and stuff. So yeah, that's well on its way. And then this morning, I've cracked on and got the bottom end built for the Transit. So the crank is in, mains are all torqued. I've plastic gauged the mains, they're all good. I'm yet to do the big ends. I need to find a torque setting for those before I can do that. And I've also got all the oil squirters in. So that's on its way. I've also checked the piston protrusion, and it's in spec with what Ford recommend, because I actually found the proper Ford specifications for that, which usually is, you can't ever find it. So yeah, we've got our new cam assembly, which I think we went into detail about a couple of videos ago. Wasn't cheap, and it's a bit of an inconvenience, but got to have it. I've also stripped out the oil pump. The pump itself looks great, no issues there. But in this pickup, and you probably can't really see, there's quite a lot of debris in there. Luckily, none of that's really made it through and done any damage to the pump. So we're going to try, well, I found you can get these pickups, they're not too expensive, so we'll get a new pickup. This solenoid I'm going to clean up, because there's a little bit of a build up there of some debris, but I'm going to clean that up and maybe see if we can test that. So yeah, that just comes apart like that, 2 halves, there's a cover. So yeah, pump's okay really, just a new one of those, and we're going to hopefully try and test that, make sure that's working as it should. Also today, I think John has pretty much finished this Perkins. It's just waiting now to be picked up, I think. We've got to put the flywheel on. Going to do that tomorrow morning. It's a big old thing though. So yeah, getting there. And then once that's done, we can start this other Perkins over here. Lee's obviously been off today. He did pop in for a bit, but I think tomorrow he's going to carry on with this Cosworth head. This is the one that's being converted to solid lifter rather than a hydraulic lifter. And he's got to set the clearances up on those. So I think once Lee has finished this Cosworth here, finished setting that up and got the head on and all timed up, I think then he's going to start having a look at this Honda. He got the big end bearings that he needed today. They just turned up. So I think we've pretty much got everything we need. Just got to build it now. So that one will be interesting. We got all the head and the rocker assembly as well. So maybe we'll do a bit of video setting those up. I think tomorrow I've got a couple of crank balances to do, which I was going to do today, but got a little bit preoccupied with the Transit. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that's going on today. Oh, one last thing. I have started to clean up, or I say clean up, I've started putting some bits for the Lotus engine in the wash, and I've been trying to blast this paint off this cover, but it's quite stubborn. Nearly got it all. But I've stripped out the head. I think we're going to need to do exhaust guides on this head. These cam bearings don't look too bad. These are actually shells that will come out, so you can replace those. I'll have to see what Lee thinks about those, but they don't look terrible for cam bearings. Hopefully in the next week or so I'll start maybe getting the block washed and get all the paint stripped off, and we can get on with that one as well.
So this is a small turbo Escort Cosworth cylinder head. Duck and dive here.
Oh, we've got a nice obstacle course.
For the rocker cover, these later Escort Cosy heads have got a different pattern than the earlier ones. We've got less holes, different rocker cover. Steve has supplied a modified earlier cover, which is the one with the Cosworth on it, the classic looking one. But it's been modified for this whole pattern. So one difference is, you see on the outside here, you've got 3 M6 holes.
Yep.
While the earlier one would have 5, I think.
Yeah.
As I say, all M6. One problem I did see was 3 of them, someone has butchered good and proper.
Well, they look more like
M10. They are indeed. They weren't quite
John's
M10s.
having a nightmare over there.
Don't sound good. Bless him. What someone had done is put in 8mm. They weren't quite M10. They were actually 8mm internal Inserts.
Oh yeah.
What inserts? Help me.
Time set?
Time certs.
Yeah.
Which should start. This one had started pulling out anyway.
Brilliant.
Great. So what I've done is I've removed the time certs, mate. Basically, I Loctited these bolts in, left them overnight.
Oh yeah.
And then when I'm undoing the bolts, the time certs come out. So that's what's been left.
Ideal.
Obviously, we've got 3 of them. So what I've then done is set it up on the mill, drilled and tapped M10 by 1.5.
Right. Okay.
So they've cleaned up nicely. I've ordered some aluminium M10 by 1.5 threaded studding.
Okay.
So tomorrow when that arrives, mate, I shall Loctite that in, hack it off, and then I can put the rocker cover on, accurately drill my M6.
Yeah. So you'll mill those little
Yeah,
plugs
I'll
down
cut it off
flat
roughly and then just mill over, just flush with that.
Yeah.
And then I can drill
Nice.
and tap my M6 and
Perfect.
do a proper job, isn't
Yeah.
it? Make some sort of effort here. But it's little things like that that take the time, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
Little bodgeries.
Well, yeah.
So what someone would have done there is they would have, basically, the only thing they could have done is made a stepped, either made a step stud to go in there. You'd have to run a nut on the top, which would
Right.
be crap.
Yeah.
Or they would just drill out the rocker cover and put an M8 in there,
Yeah.
which also looks crap.
That's sacrilege, really, isn't it? You can't go.
No,
Oh, that doesn't sit right.
It doesn't,
Having
mate.
one bolt that's too big
it's
in a
horrible,
cover.
it's rubbish.
Yeah.
So we'll do that, it's the only thing we can. If you start welding this up, you're going to distort this face and you don't want to be doing that, mate.
Well, if you do what you, if you put the plug in and
Yeah.
Loctite it or whatever, or use your special glue,
It'll be absolutely
ain't gonna
fine.
go nowhere. So
So once I've done that, I can give the head another clean, assemble the head, stick it on the engine, and get this thing finished by the end of the week.
nice.
Be nice, wouldn't it?
That'd be ideal.
And then Steve rang me this morning. I think he's on about hopefully coming down to pick this up on Monday
Lovely.
and dropping another one off.
Perfect.
But we will go into the next engine and the deal we have with Steve later on. Something very exciting in the pipeline, haven't we, mate?
We do indeed.
But we will not be saying anything just yet.
No. Little secret.
We have had Deutschworks in from Wales.
Is it Deutschworks or is it their mate? Or it might be them themselves.
I think it was them that dropped it in.
Oh, right.
But I don't know, it might be their mate. But this is an M54 block.
Yep.
Just in for rebore, so 0.5 oversized piston. Said this would turn this one around pretty quick. And the head, there's some issue with the guides on the head?
Yeah, so they fitted new guides, and for some reason the inlet guides have been reamed, but
Right.
the exhaust guides haven't.
Are they new guides?
Yeah.
But they haven't been reamed?
No.
What, so the
So-
valves don't go in?
Yeah, basically.
Great.
But I think they had it at another machine shop or somewhere, and for some reason they only did the inlets, and I don't know what happened, but
So we've got a ream on, just check
got
the
to ream
seats.
them out and check the seal, I suppose.
Nice.
But yeah.
That's about it then, mate, innit?
Yep.
What else we got going on? Cracking on with the Lotus. We've got to... People keep asking what's happening with the V6 Land Rover.
This one.
The answer is not a lot.
No. It's hanging around, isn't
Hanging
it?
around. He still ain't picked it up. Still says he's going to be picking it up, but when, I do not know. Be nice to get paid for that,
It would.
because I forked out a load in bits, owes us a load of labour, and I've paid the VAT on it.
Well.
Cosworth I've just unwrapped off the pallet. This is a 205 early Sierra block,
Yeah.
and looks like a four-wheel drive cylinder head.
So what have you got to do with that?
Don't know yet. I'm
it
sure he's told me,
machining job or?
but I forgot. Yeah, it looks like a machining job, mate. So I'll have to give him a bell, won't I?
Yep.
But yeah, I ain't been very well.
No.
We've got a busy few weeks coming up. We've got a tasty Subaru engine to do, haven't
Lovely.
you?
I'm very excited about that.
I bet you are.
Every time a lorry drives past it, I think, oh, could it be coming today?
No, he's going to bring it down himself, I think, in a couple of
Right.
Saturdays' time. So I'll have to meet him here. And he's also dropping down a Cosworth engine, but not a Cosworth as we know it.
No,
It's
not a
the
YB.
V6 Cosworth out the Granada. Don't see many of them, but this one's turbocharged, isn't
Twin
it?
turbocharged.
Twin turbo.
Sounds a bit
fruity,
Very, yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So we've got to have a look at that, I think.
What's going on with this rover block out here? Is that turned up today?
I
think
don't
it did,
know.
didn't it?
Don't know anything about that.
Must be a John thing.
It's a John job, that one, mate. That's about it, really, for today, innit, mate?
Yeah.
So, my
A
plan
little
is
bit
to just
slow.
get that cosy finished.
Yeah.
I would have got it finished probably already if I hadn't been ill. I was off yesterday. Come in for an hour yesterday.
You did. You did.
I
You
disappeared
tried.
fairly smartish. Don't feel great. But at least I haven't got the aches today.
Tell you what, this gimbal is all over the shop.
Oh,
It's losing its abilities.
Oh,
Wobbly.
all right.
It's all right.
Should we end it there before it loses its mind?
Yes.
There we go.
It's had enough for the
quickly.
day.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow for definite. Bye.